Billy, thanks so much for coming on. So you said previously that the military was your saving grace when you were younger. Why was that? Tell me about your journey into the military.
Right, so it's a story I've told a lot. Growing up, I was a bad kid. I was naughty. From the ages 9, I got into gangs. 11, I was in court for actual bodily harm, grievous bodily harm, criminal record. So I was going wild. Then I found the cadets around about the same time. And there was something about the cadets I really loved. And it was the practicality of what they were teaching me and the discipline. And it was the old-fashioned discipline. You stepped out of line, you got a backhander, put back. And I kind of gravitated towards that. I thought, yeah, I respect that. I understand it. But the other thing about it was I was being taught first aid, which I thought, okay, I can see where that's going to happen in my life. I can use that. How to use a map and compass, how to use communicate. It all made sense to me. On the other side of the coin, school, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, I thought, what's that nonsense? I just didn't get any of that. So I started to go really rogue, forget the school. By the age of 13, think I was the cool dude. I glued the maths teacher to the chair, got thrown out of school. It didn't go down too well, he didn't like that. So, and I didn't care. So I was thrown out of school, in and out, and I went back on a Friday to play football because I love sport. And they let me do that. 15, my world turned upside down. I got stabbed in a fight and nearly lost my life. And then looking at the agony on the people that really love you, mum and dad's face, and realising what a prat I'd been. The pain I had, you know, after going through what had gone, and the real pain was in my heart looking at my mum, and I thought, I've got to change this. I've got to do something about it. And by 16, my criminal record had run out, but instead of going back to school, I ended up in a factory, getting badly injured, burnt all my legs with caustic soda. That's another story. But held myself away from the crowd, stayed out of trouble, and managed to get into the military. It really was my saviour. I knew that's where I wanted to be. I knew it was going to be hard. I didn't know if I could really make it, but I thought that's going to be my last option, to go for it, stick with it, and give me an opportunity to turn my life around and be somebody. And that's exactly what it did. On day one of stepping down in Aldershot, I'd never been out of Walsall. And just looking at, all my instructors had just come from the Falklands, so they'd been tested in battle. One of them still had a fresh scar on his face. Scouts Corporal, Martin Majerison, unbelievable man. There was just something about him before he even opened his mouth and said anything. There was a glow around him of respect, and we all saw it and thought, that's who I want to be. And that's what I said to myself. So it was, and I knew it was going to be hard, and he pushed us to get the best out of all of us. And so gratefully did, you know. And I got to the barriers of, I wanted to give up, but someone said, no, you cannot go back to the lifestyle you had. But going back to that lifestyle and the troubles I was in, and that was me. That wasn't the gang I was with. That wasn't somebody else's fault. That was me. And I knew it. You know, my mum would always say, he got in with the wrong crowd. I was the wrong crowd, just like every kid knows. So although I let my mum take the blame, and it's something I always talk about now, is own it. If you're going to be naughty, but own it. Because my old man said to me, you're a bad kid. He couldn't control me because he was always working. And it is hard if you're a parent, you know, to control your own kids. He couldn't control me, I was raw, but he said to me one day, I was like, do me one favour. If you're going to be a bad kid, but never be a liar. He says, because we'll never get to the bottom of a liar. I can get to the bottom of a bad kid. And I've always remembered that. And I thought, so anytime he asked me how I'd been through, I told him, yes. And I wish I hadn't, because I got a belt for it.
Yeah.
But it was the wisest thing my old man ever said to me. And, you know, on the basis of all that experience and badness and stuff and turning my life around, joined the parachute regiment and never looked back.
I just wanted to double check that you've subscribed to the show, because it really helps us continue these important conversations. Thanks. But you're not from a military background, are you?
Not really, but my granddad was in the RAF during the Second World War. My uncle was in the RAF, and in fact, he was a guinea pig on Christmas Island when they dropped the H-bomb. So that was probably a reason not to join the army. My dad's brother was in the Sherwood Worcester Forest, Sherwood, the Woofers, and was in Borneo and was in an ambush, went missing. The family got a letter say he's presumed dead, missing in action. So the family went through all that, and then 6 weeks later, he was found by a Gurkha patrol, I believe, and still alive, barely alive. And obviously they brought him back to UK. So again, on the basis of that, the military was not.
Yeah, that kind of put me off a little bit.
Yeah. So my dad never encouraged it or discouraged it, neither did my mum. You know, they want me to do the best. But on the day I joined the army, my dad said to me, he was basically saying, you won't make it. And he was saying, and he hit me with what, you know, what's the word? A bunch of negativity, reverse psychology.
Right.
He sat me down as much as he knew I needed to go in the army, because if I stayed in my hometown of Warsaw, I would have got killed. Yeah. I'd been done, jailed or dead, definitely. And he sat me down the night before I went into the army and said, he came out with things like, Northern Ireland was massive at the time. There's a lot going on, a lot of problems. And he said, what if you go to Northern Ireland? I said, well, I hope I do, because I wanted to make a difference. And he came out with, what if you get injured? I went, then I get injured. He says, oh, good. Who looks after you? Me and your mum. So I'm starting to look at my dad thinking, why is he telling me this? And then he goes, what if you get killed? And me being me, went, then I get killed, so what? And he went, yeah, so what? So me and your mum have to bury you. So you can imagine that night I got to bed with that in my head thinking, what the hell? Why is he telling me this? And I didn't want to go to the army. And I sat up all night, and then the early hours of the morning I thought, fuck you. I'm going to prove you wrong. And he did that for that reason. He tried all the love, affection and all that, and it didn't work. He tried, you know, the threatening to give me a good idea if I was kept being naughty, all that sort of stuff, didn't work. So that was his kind of final thing planted in my head when I went into training. And every time I felt like throwing my hand in and giving up, that was in my head. My old man.
Do you think he was like, because obviously if they loved you, do you think this was just a really smart bit of psychology to get you to?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what it was. And I found out more about that later on in life after he died, unfortunately. I found all the newspaper clippings, all the stuff that I'd done through my life, football, boxing, military, which we never talked about. We never really acknowledged and never got the opportunity to sit down with him and talk about. And which is, when I said, you asked me about what I'm scared of, is time, realizing how quick it goes and wasting it. I hate wasting time.
Yeah, it's a different era, isn't it? Though, when grandparents, at least my grandparents, whatever, they weren't of that era where you hugged your kids and said, I love you. It was more.
But he never did. I told him I loved him just luckily before he died, and he looked at me like I just beat him up. Like, weirdo. In a nice way.
Yeah, nothing says weirdo.
No, but Dad was great. It's funny though, you know, you look at your parents, I say, I guess you're not too far behind my sort of age, I'm guessing. In fact, you're probably older than me.
Carry on.
Actually, looking at your hair, you're probably older than me.
Let's cut this out.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, my old man was just one of these people who his sole thing was to protect the family, provide for the family. You know, sharing that huggy, lovey time was not him. And I realised that after he died again. I looked at who was he, what was he, and he was a ring of steel around the family. Yeah. Nobody upset our family when my dad was around. He was a big old fella, like, you know.
It's just a different way of showing that affection, isn't it? I heard you were unable to get in the army initially because you were only 8 stone.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That was part of the, so the way it used to work, you applied to be in the army, go over to the careers office, and I was boxing at 8 stone. And it wasn't, I couldn't go in the army. They weren't going to let me go in the parachute regiment.
Right.
Because they told me I had to be 10 stone to be able to jump out of a plane, which I didn't know any different at the time. So I stopped boxing. I started taking weight gain. My mum was giving me like loads of extra food, all this sort of stuff to try, and it weren't working. And then when I went to the careers 3-day expedition thing you had to do in Sutton Coldfield, where you get put into different sort of categories for different units, infantry, non-infantry, blah, blah. The parachute regiment was segregated from everyone because you had to do extra physical training. You had to do a faster run, all this. And I went to go over there, and the guy said to me, you can't go over there. You're not allowed to. You're not heavy enough. And it really, I remember sitting in the audience like this. I thought, fuck this. And as he turned his back, I went over and sat with them and put this band on and sat behind them. And off we went. And I won the race. I won all the fitness. And in the end, they went, you cheeky little shit. And that was it. I was allowed. But when I got there was a guy just as skinny as me when I got there. So it was a load of nonsense anyway.
Fine. Well, I know you've discussed selection process a lot of time and stuff. Any unique highlights around it that you'd want to point out? What's different?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you've had people talking about selection, but everybody in the military that wants to go for the SAS, firstly, you have to volunteer. I've heard people go, oh yeah, do you know so-and-so in the SAS? I went, no, I don't. And we know everybody because it's such a small unit. And oh, well, he was asked by the army to go for selection. No, he wasn't, because the army don't do that. That's the first thing. You volunteer. Right. First point. So when I volunteered to go for selection, even though I'd been in the army 7 years at the time, you don't really know a lot about what the real selection process is. You get people tell you, oh, this, you go over the mountains, you do this, they give you some routes to do and all this. Then you go to the jungle, then you do this, then you do that. And for me, and like most people, military people will tell you, going on selection, all I concentrated was getting over the mountains, because that is a brutal process. You know, you get one red, you're gone, or two reds as it was. Fan dance, if you missed the top, you're gone. 80 people went on day one with us. So that was in my head. As long as I get through that, I'll be fine, because I'd done a lot of soldiering. I'd been to the jungle 3 times. I wasn't worried about the jungle. But the truth is, SAS Selection is the jungle. They're not bothered about the hills. That's just a filtering phase. When you get to the jungle, that's because that is the window then where you're being watched all the time. And soldiering is easy. It's about finding your true character, because that's what the regiment is. It's not about an image. Don't care how big, tough you are. Don't care how many operations you've been in. Don't care how long you've been in the military. Don't care what you look like. Who are you? What are you? What's your true character when you're deprived of sleep, food, tired, hungry, and got to go that extra kilometre, got to pick the rest of the team up? Can you do that? Can you think outside the box? And that's what selection really is. And that's hard, particularly when you're not being encouraged or discouraged, because they don't. There's no screaming and shouting like you said on the show. You just get on with it. They ask you. What they're asking, when they ask you, they're telling you, but they're telling you in a nice way. You're going from A to B, you're navigating, you're leading, and you've got to then sort all that out and get on with it. And a lot of people, if they're not being shouted and screamed at, which a lot of the military is initially, they can't do it. Self-motivation, basically. If you haven't got it, you're done. And not being able to think outside the box, find a solution. They also like to see you fail, because you'll fail in the jungle a lot. And the reason they want to see you fail is, how do you respond to that? Do you then just see red and become a complete nightmare? Are you argumentative? Are you aggressive? Or can you go, okay, I messed up. I'll learn from that and I'll try again. And that's what they're looking for. So the answer to your question, I've gone long-winded, as I always fucking do, is the things people don't realise. Selection is really the jungle phase, where we really get to look at people and choose the person for the character. And it doesn't matter what you look like. If you've got that characteristic where you can think outside the box, have good self-motivation, try, fail, learn from it, not keep repeating it, and move on. That's the sort of people they're looking for.
And then you advanced to Sergeant Major, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
Pretty high up, really.
Yeah, it's as high as I ever wanted to be. And I mean, it's probably the best job in the world. In an SAS squadron, the main person is the Sergeant Major, because you've been there from day one to that point. So you've got all that experience and all that knowledge. And the young officers come in, they do a couple of years, they leave, re-educate, come back again if they're good, and they're also, and they're great people. You know, the ones I've worked with some real good officers and stuff. But the main players are the 4 sergeant majors. That is such a powerhouse of, you know, you work at a strategic level. The decisions you have to make at that level, and when I look back at it now, I go, whoa, geez, I can't remember having to do that. But you just get on with it, because you're ready for it. It's what you know. It's in the, like I say, they call that day, I look back at it, and I'm not going to say exactly where and what, but some of the things, you're making decisions which not just direct our country, changed global perspective on things and policies. That's the level you're working at, and you don't realise it, or you do realise it, but you don't care about it. Because I've got a job to do, I know what I've got to do, I know how to do it, I've got the tools, I've got the knowledge and information with the people who have given me that information. Looking back now, you can't trust half of them, but I'm not going to go into that. So yeah, it was a great position to be in, and it's the epitome of my whole career. Are
there any sort of specific details about being the sergeant major that's different to any other role? Yeah, I imagine you're still.
It's, you know what? It's probably the ultimate position of leadership, and for me,
because you're not too disconnected that you're still in it.
Yeah, you're in the cold phase. You're in the you're in every phase of it. Many people go, oh, you'll never get the bigger picture. As a sergeant major, you do. You get the bigger picture, you get the middle picture, and you get the lower picture. You get everything.
Right.
And then you're in a position to decide how to make this work or not work. And for me as a sergeant major, it was great, because all the people below me are very mature people and tried and tested, and were from all walks of life, all different ideas, and it was a melting pot of knowledge and experience. So if a job came in, no matter how big or small it was and how difficult it could be, I go, okay, it's not all on me, it's on my team. And I was smart enough to go, you're doing this, you're leading that. And all I had to do was sort of make a step back. And if the train starts to wobble a bit, then I'll step in and recontrol it. All these young lads coming up with their experience, lead it. I didn't micromanage them. And it was a great position to be in, to watch that happen. So the success that we had in the regiment, which I always talk about, is we never failed an operation. That's a fact. It was never easy. It was never to plan. And it came at a great sacrifice of lives. Some our friends, you know, but it was an absolute privilege to be in that position, to pass that information to these people and let them lead it. And I just stepped at the back. And the only time I stepped in to earn my money, if I had to, is if it was going to go slightly wobbly. It was a decision that had to be made that couldn't be made by them. And very rarely did I have to do that because these people were so good. And it was just great to sit there as the emperor, if you like, and just watch our team do the business. And it was great.
And you in the SAS for more than 20 years?
Yeah, I would say 20. I mean, 2015, I left joining in 83, joined the regiment in 91. So my overall career was about 32 years. I don't count the last 5 years because I was what they called LDET, which is reserves. Right. Still part of the regiment, you know, still giving information, doing stuff, but not really active and stuff. So I don't count that.
Have a suggestion for a Man Alive episode or thought about something said in this episode? Comment below and I read every one. What do you think the physical toll on you was, being in the military that long?
I mean, it's a hard life. It really is a tough life, but you become regimented to it. You know, the physical thing. The beauty of the regiment is this as well. What a lot of people don't know is you generally don't do organised fitness. It's not like in the paras, you're up all together as a team and go and do 10 miles. You just do your own shit all the time. But when that buzzer goes or that call comes, you better be ready. You can go on the piss as much as you want. As long as you can perform and do your job, you're expected to do that. So you kind of got that in your head all the time. And my regime was always, I train. If I don't train, I'm a miserable fucker. You know, I got my thing in the morning. I get up. I don't count the running in the morning as fitness anyway. That's just my wake-up call to get me started for the day. And then I'll go into the gym and beast myself on the bag or do light weights. And that's my fitness. But I've had that regime in the military all my life, from the paras to the regiment, to keep yourself on top of it. And it is hard. It has a hard toll on you. You know, your aches, pains, my ankles kill me now, my knees kill me, my back, my shoulders. But I just go, you know what? So what? So what? It hurts. Just keep going. Because at some stage, I ain't going to be able to do it.
Yeah, very true.
And then when that comes, and I'll deal with it accordingly.
All right. Talking about stuff you can't do anymore, shall we have a look at your blood results?
Oh.
So, what we do with the bloods, there's around 60 blood tests we do. And this isn't airy fairy stuff that's lacking in evidence. The blood tests we do are based on the same tests you'd have done if you were in the NHS, if you see your cardiologist, for your endocrinologist, whatever else. So these are validated tests that we use in everyday medicine to see how healthy you are,
I'm
really.
intrigued.
Yeah. Did you have any sort of fear about results that you might have?
Not really, mate. I mean, what will be. You know, if you're going to tell me I've probably got 2 weeks to live, you better tell me quick because I want to get out of Florida. No, you know, I think I'm not one of these people, by the way, who'll wear these watches to tell you, because you then become, it psychs you out. You're worrying about it. Who gives a shit? If something's going to happen, it's going to happen. So I'm not worried about the test, whatever it may be. And I'm hoping it'll say to me, stop drinking, but I won't. And tell me what I should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You've got some shocker in there, haven't you?
So it's good because I think obviously if we look at you as a person in the average population, you're a 1 in a million fitness, health, I don't know, advocate in a way that most people will go, wow, I wish I could do that. And you'd hope that your bloods would match accordingly.
Probably don't.
Most of them do.
Do they?
So you're
then I am shocked.
Well, why? Why?
Because you asked me about the BP earlier, remember? My BP is through the roof.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
When I do my BP and stuff like that, people go, ooh, you're about to have a heart attack or you should be dead. It's just, I've always been like, it's always been the same. But over the years, I've had malaria 4 times, I've had dengue fever once, and I've had leishmaniasis. So I'm like a dirty old rat. So if there's any real blood in there, please let me know.
I mean, generally we don't class most of our patients as dirty old rats. But I can get. So all your core health is really good. There were 2 bits in your bloods that do stick out as slightly unusual. One is your testosterone is slightly lower. It's not It's not low, but it's lower than maybe is the optimal or ideal. So a normal level's 15 to 13 nanomoles per litre.
Okay.
What do you reckon yours might have been?
Well, you already told me it's low, so I'm going to say if it's 30, it's the top, 50, probably below 15.
Yeah, about 13.5, 13.6.
Okay.
Which is really interesting in a sense, because it doesn't class you as truly low, and there's more to it than that, and I'm not going to go into that at this point because you're really fit and healthy, but it shows that you can be the healthiest bloke in the world. You can do all this sort of stuff, and every bloke's testosterone drops as they age, and we can't stop that. So if you have symptoms, that's a different discussion, but if you don't have symptoms and your levels start to trickle down, we can't stop it. It's just going to happen as we get older.
Yeah.
And it's nice to know, I think, for your average guy who's going to listen to this, goes, maybe, even though I'm trying really hard, you can't lifestyle way out of everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the implications of that low test? What does that mean? You're more tired, or you what?
Yeah. So common symptoms of low testosterone, we split into three. One is tiredness, fatigue, harder to train as much. You can't push yourself as much as you used to. You might get fatter even though you eat the same food. Like metabolism's just slowing down. The mental side is men get irritable and ratty. They stop enjoying life so much. And then the sexual side is they may find their sex drive goes down. They may get erectile dysfunction. And you can have all three of those. You can have none of those or just one of them. It's all dependent on how each person's affected.
Well, I'm happy to say I don't have any of them.
I guess that's kind of the point. But,
so I guess it's just the natural process of getting old, right?
Exactly. But the key is that if we don't look for those men who have the symptoms as well, they're going to go, well, it's just getting old, so I'm not going to bother testing it. But I think really every bloke should have a test. Because if your level came back at 8, we'd have a very different discussion, because we'd want to treat you anyway. Because we know that men with really low testosterone die sooner. We don't want that happening.
No.
So, but that's okay. The other interesting one for you, cholesterol.
I was going to say cholesterol.
What was...
What? I don't understand it. I hear Americans talking about my cholesterol levels of this, that. I'm like, what are you talking about?
So cholesterol is the amount of fat sitting in your blood in a very coarse way, and there's more.
Okay, so blocked arteries and all that nonsense.
That's what we're inferring from it. And there's more accurate ways of it, because you need cholesterol. You need cholesterol to make your hormones. You need to make lots of stuff around your body. But what you don't want is too much cholesterol. If you have too much cholesterol, you're exactly right. If you've got an artery that's furred or damaged somewhere, it sticks to the artery, it builds up over time, and then that causes a heart attack or stroke. Biggest cause of death in men over the age of 40 is still heart attack. Like odds of us dying is going to be heart attack. And that's why we do this thing called a Q risk. So Q risk is a really interesting little algorithm we use, and we use it in the NHS all the time. And basically it gives you a percentage prediction of you dying in the next 10 years of a cardiovascular event, or at least having a cardiovascular event in the next 10 years. So heart attack or stroke. And it's surprisingly accurate for a lot of blokes.
Okay.
So obviously we plugged all your numbers in. This is where it gets more exciting. We plugged all your numbers in. And we said,
nice knowing you.
I did even knock a few off your blood pressure, because I knew it was going to be slightly higher. Give me a percentage. What do you reckon?
70.
It was 70%. We might as well just call 999 and we'll call it a day.
No, go on then.
So
I reckon, I don't know, 45.
That's still whackingly high. No, yours was 12%.
Okay.
Now, the interesting thing, very few blokes are going to get like 50%. Maybe if you were 90, because you've got to die something, then you're going to get.
So I'm going to live a lot longer.
It's not bad. Now, over 10%, we do start to go, actually, you know what, these risks are creeping up and we want to tackle them. So for you, those two things we'd want to tackle would be cholesterol and blood pressure. Now, the argument you're going to say is, I've always had that. It's been me. Look at me, I'm a machine. I can run all this, I can train, and it doesn't affect me. But I know one or two other military colleagues, one of them who's just had a bad coronary event, and he was never aware. They just nobody told him this stuff, and it just affected his heart.
Yeah, I'm all for the science of and the stuff that, you know, the medical people can, like yourselves, can do. I'm all ears. Particularly, as I said to you, time is everything now. So, you know, in the past, I'm very old-fashioned about things. So what?
But supposing I said to you, right, I'm going to give you a tablet today. It takes your blood pressure down. You've got to take it forever. How would you feel about that?
No.
That's the
Ain't
problem.
Gonna happen. I am, all my family, I am mega anti-medicine.
Why?
Because I don't trust it. I don't trust it. The thing is, I mean, through the military, and I didn't realise, when I left the military and I asked for my medical reports, as in it, I've got about 3 pages of injections that I've had. I thought, I don't really even remember having all this shit. And since then, I just keep feeling I don't want any more of that. I really don't want it. The only thing I'll ever take, I won't take anything for headaches. I don't want none of that nonsense. I'll just drink water, train. When I've got the flu, my idea of getting through the flu and colds and stuff is get a sweatsuit on, get out and run. That's what I do. And I've always done that. And maybe you're going to tell me that's probably the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, it's the wrong thing.
But it worked for me. But I don't know. I just don't trust medicine.
So, I mean, it's not unique. I think your position is really, really common in blokes.
Right.
The idea that there's 2 things with guys we see. Firstly, is they think, I should be able to fix this.
Yeah.
Like if I change my diet, if I eat better, train harder, I can get out of this. But if you look at the mortality graphs for men versus women, since we've checked it like centuries now, well, not centuries, stupid, decades, sorry, you can see that men consistently die earlier than women, like always. And part of it is just something about being a bloke is bad for you. Now, we could just change that, but that's
is it the ego thing? Is it you know?
No, this is even with treatments. This is something about being a guy. So maybe it's hormonal, maybe it's genetic. Maybe you're right. Maybe they don't want to take tablets. We don't really know. It's probably lots of little things, but guys don't want to take those tablets. They just want to lifestyle their way out of it.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Cut out sugar, cut out bread, and don't drink as much.
Is that?
I can do 2 of them for sure. One of them is not.
Let me guess. You don't have a lot of sugar.
I've cut right. I used to have. I don't now, and I'll cut out bread as much as I can.
If I told you that risk wasn't 12%, especially when I said it was 50%. In the next 10 years. Would you take a tablet then?
Maybe.
You're still on a maybe?
Maybe.
I'll be taking it at 3%. Jesus.
No way.
Yeah, but I give out medicines.
No, I don't trust it. There's always a side effect to it. You start on this thing, you got to take this every day. Oh, no, it's created a problem with your liver or your kidneys. You got to take this. No. Let nature do its thing. Listen, we're all going to die sometime. Until I get in absolute pain and can't bear it and I want to stay around a bit longer, then I'll consider it.
Yeah, when that happens, I'm just going to give you a sweatsuit. It's fun. Fine. Foxy told me that nutrition in the military was not brilliant.
Yeah.
What was your experience?
You're talking about the quality of food and stuff that we get.
Because I think that has an impact on your risk as well.
I think the problem is, probably now, actually, I think the food's a lot better now. Being in the regiment, I noticed that the difference in the standard of food and the amount of food and all that sort of stuff you got was different. I think the problem is we binge everything. We binge food, we binge life, we binge drinking. That's the problem. I think it's not the quality of the nutrition stuff. I think the stuff's there. It's just, you just don't take it regular, which I guess you should do. You know, I know on operations exercise, I'll go 3 or 4 days without even eating anything.
Wow.
And I've done that regular. You know, I've gone 6 or 7 days without eating because you're either too busy, you're too tired, you're too whatever involved in something you're doing. And one biscuit will just, I could go easily a week with just a cup of tea. Easily. And you do that.
Milk?
Yeah, milk and 1 sugar.
There you go.
But no, honestly, it's just, I don't think it's the nutrition in the food. I think they've definitely got a grip of that now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they have. It really is just the irregularity of trying to have a routine and do things properly.
Yeah.
Because you're on the spare of a moment through the military where, particularly the regiment, you're here 1 minute, you've gone the next, you're doing this, you're doing that, you no sleep, you loads of sleep. And it's just so, life is just full of binging everything, including fitness. We come home and all of a sudden, you know, like you should do, go steady, nice cup of run. No, you've got to run a marathon on day 1. Half kill yourself, and then you're back into no fitness because you're in a place where you can't.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the problem is. I don't think it's actually the nutrition, if I'm honest. I mean, I've never bothered with all that sort of stuff. Fox is into his weight training and all that, and a lot of the lads are. That was never me. I don't give a fuck. If anything that's dead or alive, as long as I eat something, I'll be all right. Within 10 days, I'm okay. And drink some water. Let's get on with it.
I mean, most of your results, as I say, were actually really good.
Okay.
So your full blood count, your immunity, your liver, your kidneys.
I'm surprised at the liver. I thought you were going to say you got Georgie Best sat here.
Do you drink much?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
How much is much?
I am one for the road. And if you're out with me and you're having a beer, you hear me say that, my kids will go home now, because that's a long road. And I just can't help it. I just like to socialise, and I like to have a drink.
Would you say you probably drink too much?
Yeah. Not too regular, because I'm back to binging.
Yeah.
But the weird thing about me is, I know I can come out the bar at 5 a.m, at 7 o'clock. My head's going, you've got to do something about this. I'll be up at 7 and I'll run. And I'll train.
Right.
I train harder after I've been on the piss. I went to Arnhem with the lads. I had been there for the Parachute Regiment reunion, the 80th anniversary. And I went back to being 17 years old. We drank from the moment before we got on the plane, at the hotel, in the morning, in the afternoon, for 3 days solid. I was like, I don't think I can drink anymore. And then I just lay there and thought, fuck this. And I just got up and ran about 10 miles, still with an hangover. I'd come out of the pub about 5. By 7, I was already running. And I was beasting myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like I just reset myself. And it's in here. It really is with me. I'm very simple in terms of, okay, done that, get over it, do that.
So do you think we could advocate that as a standard hangover cure? Maybe like a 10-mile run?
Yeah, get up and do something.
Let's see how that goes moving forward.
People are like, shut up, you lunatic.
The other ones we do look for are things like insulin sensitivity, pre-diabetes, diabetes, and it indicates whether your metabolic rate and your ability to process sugar and carbs is good. And yours is amazing, like much lower than we might expect. But I think that is probably because you are so fit.
Well, that's mega reassuring to me, because I've always worried about diabetes and stuff.
There are lots of people who may watch and think, is it worth me doing this effort? Is it worth me running? And these results show actually you really can make an effort. You can make a difference through the lifestyle effort of fitness.
It's all about lifestyle and, how you treat yourself and what you do. And don't have a drink, but you can have a drink. Just don't overindulge in it, or just know yourself. Your body tells you when something ain't right. Do something about it.
A 10-mile run.
And it's mindset. It really is. The days I really do not want to get out of bed is when I do get out of bed, and I end up doing even more. So I've set a route and I'm getting to a routine. The routine sometimes I think is a fault. You've got to break that routine. You've got to get past it, beyond it. And not all the time, but sometimes set yourself the next goal. Otherwise, it's like running your car every day down to the same route every day. And then all of a sudden you want to go on a longer journey, and it breaks down because he's never done that longer journey. So just keep pushing and breaking that routine. That's with everything: drink, food, fitness, sleep, everything.
How does it feel knowing what your results are? Is it relief? Yeah,
it actually is. Honestly, I'm serious. Because I like, again, back to what you asked me at the start. What do you fear? I don't fear, but I do concern myself about time. And I think what you were saying there is, and the other thing is, every human being is different. I do run a lot. I don't even class it as, I call it jogging now. I've gone from challenging and sprinting, and I'm too old for that shit now, but I'm still in my head. I'm doing enough. Tells my body, you're doing enough. You've got up. You've done something. So I don't know what, it resets my mindset, my body, and I feel good about it. And that works for me. It doesn't work for everybody. Like, I will not listen to music. I will not listen, people run with, no. If I'm thinking and concentrating on what I'm doing, it feels like I'm working harder, because I'm going, oh, fuck. I've run, and I do it, my always a little further. I'm going to go 3K today. I'll get to the 3K part and go, no, fuck it. I'm going to go a bit further. Yeah. And then I'll go another 2Ks and go, oh shit, I've got to go back 5Ks now. And it kind of makes my body work harder, because I'm thinking about it. I'm not listening to fucking Bon Jovi and also, oh, I'm finished. I'm concentrating on what I'm doing, and it makes my mind work. It makes my body work. And I've always been that way. And I think it started from being that kid, when we used to go boxing, you'd walk in the gym and he'd be like, get rid of those fucking water bottles. You don't need them. You're not going to die in 2 hours. Get rid of that. Turn the music off. No music. It was a really old-fashioned way of doing things. And it really resonated with me, and I just stuck with it all the time. Same as a gym. I don't like going to gyms. I am the gym. I do everything outdoors when I can. And the only time I have got a gym, my own gym, I'll only go if I'm in a rush, I ain't got time to get out and do stuff. I'll do a bit in the gym then. Or if I've had an injury, I'll use it to get myself back to a decent standard before I go out and run again. But I just think get outdoors and just do it.
It seems like a big bit of this for you is discipline and self-motivation, isn't it?
It's the key to everything. Mindset, self-motivation. It's easy to say no. It really is easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. Time, again, you won't fucking do it tomorrow. Do it now. And it doesn't matter whether you go 1 mile, 10 miles. In your mind, you've done something. It's a good feeling. You know, then maybe tomorrow I can progress on that. And people go, oh, all you got to do is be better than you were today. I mean, that's easy said than done. You can't always have a great day, and you don't. And as long as you accept that, you go, okay, so what am I going to do about it? I haven't ran today. I'll go and... Fitness is everything to me because it just resets me. It makes me feel good. You know, it makes me feel... it don't make me feel guilty about going for that beer tonight because I went out, got up and ran with the dogs, or I didn't beat myself, but I've done something. And it really is the mindset, and
it feels like that's an integral part of understanding what it's like in the SAS.
Yeah.
Then. How does somebody develop those attributes?
Over time and experience and being uncomfortable. I know it's a cliche and people use it a lot. Being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Just accept it. So what? I'm wet. So what? I won't be waiting 5 hours. I won't be waiting 10 hours, whatever it is. It's only a passage in time. You'll get through it. You know, and if you, that's my mindset with everything. I'm uncomfortable. I don't feel good. So what? I'll get through it. It's like that, and life's ups, downs. And
when you were an instructor, then how would you instill those ideas and that ethos into the juniors?
But just telling them about the experiences that I've done and what, you know, and just saying to them, look, yeah, it's hard. You wouldn't feel good about what you're doing if it wasn't hard. If it was just given to you and you're going to pass selection and ease the route, I'll show you how to do it. You haven't achieved anything. And all right, it's nice now and again to have a little easy way out of things, but no. I'm just saying, listen, expect it to be hard, accept it's going to hurt, but it's a passage in time. It will finish. It's going to get dark at some stage, so you will get sleep. You're going to get time to have food. You know, we're not here to kill people. We're here to sort of get a better version of that person that they didn't realise they had. And with all the students I've ever had, that's the kind of the thing I'd go down. You know, back in the day in the parachute regiment, I was an instructor. The mindset's different there. The young kids like I was, and you need a bit of screaming and shouting and pushing along because it's breaking you out of the being asked to do something. You now you've got to do this.
How did you teach respect in those environments?
That's a good question. How did I? By leading by example, I think. I'm there with you and I'm fucking twice your age. Like now, even on the show, like me and Foxy, you know, the people on there are athletes and they're 25 years old. And they see us, if they're running 10 miles, I guess what, we're fucking running with you. And in fact, we're not running with you, we're leading it. So I think people look at it and go, well, fucking hell, he's doing it. He's not just talking about it. So I think you gain the respect by leading by example, you know, and doing, and everything we ask people to do anyway, we've done. And I think they know that. Most people know that.
I think you have this idea in the military, a lot of it is just shouting at people, but it seems much more self-motivation from what you're saying.
Yeah, it is. It's just saying to people, look, accept it's going to be uncomfortable. Accept it's going to be hard, but also accept you can do it. Or you may not do it, but you'll learn something from it. So getting people to not worry about, because that's what stop people getting their full potential is they get worried about failing and an image and what people think. Forget that shit. The only person you're ever challenging, whether you're going for a job, doing a 10 miler, having a boxing match, you're only challenging yourself, really. It's you saying to yourself, I'm going to give myself 100% and give it my best shot. And as long as you know you've done that, it's a win-win. Whether you've lost the game or you've done something that you've said to yourself, you're going to have a go at it, and you've done it. You know, and if you can get people to understand that, it's not always about winning. It's not always about being first. You know, it's about you knowing in your mind, and all you'll know that is giving it your best shot, not looking for an excuse and playing on it. Drop the excuse, the devil and the angel thing, and just push through it and go, you know what? I'll give him my best shot. And people, once you can break that barrier and go, fucking hell. And the show's a great example of that. I can't do that. There's no way I can do that. 20 minutes later or an hour later, you've just fucking done it. You've had to have some encouragement, but you've done it. And it's just a great feeling. And people can do this nonsense of put your mind to it, you can do anything. That's bullshit. No, you can't. You know, because we'd all be fucking whatever you want to be. That doesn't work. But you've put your mind to it, you're definitely going to be in a better position by trying it than you were just talking about it. Whether you've achieved your goal, it doesn't matter. You've achieved a goal in some respect because you've stepped over the fucking start line and you've had a go. And it's again, back to the old, one day you'll be lying there going, I wish you'd have done that. Don't wish you'd have done it. Do it and then go, I wish you'd have done better.
Do you think then, as a result, a lot of men don't or lack a degree of accountability and rigour that maybe you get in the military? And that's why a lot of blokes struggle.
Yeah, they do, because it's easy to say no. It's easy to let somebody else, particularly in the world today, it's easy to let somebody take the blame. It's always somebody else's fault. You know, and the military doesn't give you that option. No, it's your fucking fault. You're going to go A to B. You're accountable, particularly in the regiment. You're accountable. There's none of this, oh, I thought you were going to do it. I thought, bollocks. You're doing it. You're doing it. I'm doing it. And if I get it wrong, I take it on the chin. And the regiment's great for that. You can be the king today and the pauper tomorrow. You'll get poked in the chest as a sergeant major, as will the new guy, because the blokes will poke you in the chest and go, you fucked up. And I think that's a fucking great aspect to the military that we miss in civilian life. People being accountable and being told, you know, because that's life. You know, you tell people that everything's rosy and you're great and you're good, you set them up for failure, because when they step out into the big wide world, or they're in a position where they haven't got the gang around them, they're going to come unstuck and it's going to fucking hurt.
Yeah, totally agree. Do you have a mate who's going through a rough patch right now? Share this with them today, because one conversation can change a life. So there's a lot of discussion nowadays about openness, vulnerability, mental health, resilience, all that sort of stuff. How do you balance what would have been a traditional standard military mindset with encouraging blokes to talk about their mental health now?
Well, you know, the thing about mental health, particularly in the army, you know, PTSD, that word was bandied around forever, and it goes back to World War I, where people were shot for having PTSD, weren't they? You know, fucking because they're seen as cowards. And it took a long time, if I'm honest, for people to really realize this is a problem. People are fucking suffering. We're all different. We all have a different breaking strain. I've never had PTSD, and I've been in some horrible situations. And, you know, I do think about that. And I have my moments. I guess my PTSD is, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'll go and fucking get myself a Jack Daniels or a bottle of it. I'll listen to Dean Martin. I'll be on my own. And I'll fucking think about it and then get up and get on with it.
And run 10 miles.
Yeah, maybe. Or drink again. Yeah. No, but so everybody's different. So, and it took me a long while to understand that, because I was in, so-and-so's got PTSD, and I was thinking, how's your PTSD? He fucking hasn't done half the things I've done and other people have done, but we're all different. Yeah. You know, and I accept that. And it wasn't until I had a good friend of mine, very close friend of mine, who had been in a bad situation, it doesn't matter what it was, in the regiment, where fucking nearly dead, should have been dead kind of thing. And he broke down and fucking grabbed me after a night in the beer and wouldn't stop crying. And I couldn't handle a man crying. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I sat with him till early and listened to it, and I thought, fuck me, yeah, this is real. This is real. And on the basis of that, well, I kind of, wasn't really sure about the whole thing. Then I thought, yeah, this is real. I think when people talk about courage and bravery, I think courage and bravery is for people that really are suffering, to reach out and say, I need fucking help. That's courage, that's bravery.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be afraid to fucking do it and say it. I think if I'm very honest about this, the issue we have today is it's become such a fucking easy thing to say, I've got a mental problem, I don't feel, I'm suffering. If they don't get the internet for a day, they've got fucking PTSD. And it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get the latest phone, now I'm fucking depressed and got PTSD. It's a shame that we've gone so crazy down that route, because there are real people who've got real problems who need it. And that's diluted now because we've got to fucking take care of somebody who's actually fucking spoiled and fucking just a whinging fuck.
Yeah. I suppose
now I'm probably going to get slated for all that, but I'm telling you that in my opinion, that's what it is. I believe
my argument is, and I don't entirely disagree, is that it's a pendulum effect.
Yeah.
And 34 years ago, we were way too far the other way and didn't support any blokes. And then now we're trying to push men to talk about mental health so much that without context, you don't know when is a real problem. Yeah. So suddenly you get people coming in thinking they've got real mental health issues, when actually it's just normal life.
Yeah.
And we need to create that balance point, which I don't think we've got yet.
We're kind of taught, well, the military and my sort of peers or people I looked up to as I was growing up, influential people, the boxing coach, they had that hard mentality of, it's going to be hard. You're going to fucking feel this. And we're missing that now. We don't seem to want people to be uncomfortable. We want everything's at your fingertips. Everything's easy. And that's why we're having the fucking problems we're having. It's too easy.
I think that's why
to find comfort.
But that's why I like exercise more so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm never going to, or never would have had I think the skill base to get as far in the military, obviously. But I think just feeling that discomfort is a good way of reminding you that things aren't easy. And everyone should be doing that, not just because it's better for your health, but it's probably better for your brain to understand what struggles are like.
Absolutely, me. I mean, I don't know what in school, the bit of time I spent in school, I think we did PT every day. I think that was a fucking great thing. And we're outdoors doing stuff. I don't know if they do any of that anymore. And, there was seemed to be a lot more like clubs, youth clubs and stuff where there was a lot going on. I don't know if it's the same today, and all that's missing, I think what's ruined a lot is obviously IT. Kids on fucking, you've got to cut that out. That's got to be a limited amount of time. Of course, the kids have got to do it because that's the world we're in now.
Yeah.
You got to know. But I think parents particularly are accountable for this. It's easy to just go, I want to be at peace and quiet. Just let the kid play on the machine, on whatever it is, these games. And it's dangerous. And you're seeing the effect of it now.
Yeah.
There's nobody on the streets, no kids out with the bikes, and they're doing all that. And they're all moaning and whinging. They've all got a fucking problem.
I mean, it's not like it even was in the 90s where it was decent games like Mario Kart or...
Space Invaders. That's the only game I ever played.
I'm definitely not as old as you, if that's your reference point. So I think, you must have dealt with bereavement at some point then?
A lot.
In your life?
A lot.
Do you think military training helps or hinders you to manage that?
I think it helps you to manage it.
In a positive way?
Yeah.
Why?
Because, I mean, the nature of the job you're going to do, people are going to get hurt, people are going to get killed. You kind of already preempting something might happen. So you kind of in a way, there's a section in your head, your brain that says there's a possibility someone's going to get killed. And it's weird to say this, but you kind of accept it. When you're going in to do a job and a mission, people are so focused, and something happens, and you just get the job done, finish the job, and it's in the cold light of day again. When you take that breath and go, fucking hell, that's when it hits you. But you've kind of already prepared for it. It still hurts, and kind of linked to what you're just asking there and what you're saying. For me, the only time I really felt, fucking hell, dealing with bereavement was hard, and probably the closest I've ever been to PT, it was when my dad died. I wasn't expecting it. My mum was dying of cancer, and I was waiting for the call to say, yes, she's died now. And I got the call out from my sister. I couldn't make any sense of it. And she said, my dad had died. And I just didn't process. What do you mean? No, it's my mum who's got cancer, not my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad died before my mum. And then 3 weeks later, my mum died. So that impacted me massive. And don't get, in the military, I mean, I remember going to 10 funerals in a month. So it kind of became, I wouldn't say, you don't really get used. It's hard. It's still tough. But you seem to learn how to manage it and process it because you do so much of it, I guess, in a weird way.
It's a really odd way of becoming conditioned to experience.
You've got to accept it's part and parcel of what will happen, and it will. And I think, people say, oh, yeah, but you're trained for it. You're not really trained for it. You kind of trained to expect it. You don't know how you're going to deal with it till it really happens.
Yeah.
And it does happen, unfortunately, a lot. So you kind of... It never gets any easier. And the worst part about it is not seeing your mates get killed and people you know. It's the aftermath of stood at the grave and watching the kids, their kids, and going, fuck.
Yeah.
That's the reality. That's the reality of it for that moment where you process it and it hits everybody pretty hard. But then you go, okay, done with that now, let's move on. Binging again. Binging emotions. Binging what comes next.
Yeah. So the military obviously changed your life a lot. And then I know you sort of wound down. How did you find leaving the military? Was it more challenging?
Yeah, that was a desperate time for me.
Do they prepare you at all when you leave?
They do normally, but me being me, I didn't leave the conventional way. I did my own fucking thing, left, which is a funny old story in itself. They do. It wasn't brilliant back in the day, you know, medically. They didn't really do all the checks they probably should have done. I think they do it now. You know, they didn't do any aftercare. You do a resettlement where you can look at how to become a plumber, how to do this, and, you know, you're like, whatever. Some people did it, some don't. I think they do more of it now. I definitely didn't do it.
How old were you when you left?
I was, fucking, well, how old was I? 40-something, 46, 7, something like that.
Okay. And then how does he end up in bodyguarding work then?
Well, that's what it was. I because in the military, you don't get paid very well. Every time you do get time off, you're moonlighting. And was either fucking doing security in some building site or being a builder or learning something. So you always keep your foot in the water in terms of looking for employment at some stage. And then over the last few years of being in the regiment, I started doing, helping a mate out. I work for clients, celebrity time. Said, look, we need people to help out. Do you fancy doing it? So I started doing a bit of moonlighting. And then when I left, I needed a job. And that was the only job that was really offered to me, that I didn't want to go back to the war zones and do all that security shit. I'd done all that. And that appealed to me to, okay, safer environment. I've got the skill sets. The money's pretty good. But then I had to deal with some of that was really difficult, which was the press and cameras. You know, being in the regiment for so long, you're off the radar. No one knows who you are. You live this cloak, and then you're out the gate and they go, the regiment doesn't protect you anymore. And then you've got to go and find a fucking job. And how do you know, my university, my education was 20 plus years in the SAS and 9 in the parachute regiment.
Yeah.
How do you, well, that's my job. That's my qualifications. That's my university degree, if you like. I don't have fucking all this paperwork. That's what I have. So you have to tell somebody, that's what I have. That's who I am. Otherwise you don't get a job. And so it was difficult to tell people what I've done and where I am. You don't tell them all the secrets, but this is who I am. This is my qualifications. And yeah, it's fucking difficult. It was really, really hard, you know. And also, it was really hard because I don't think we realised how much the military actually does do for you. You know, they don't pay you well, but you get fed. You've got a roof over your head, you know. I knew where the doctors was and I could go whenever I want. I knew where the dentist was. And then you leave, you've got to go and fill in a Wilbur Smith fucking novel's worth of paperwork to go and see a dentist now. I'm like, what the fuck is this all about? It was horrendous. I was like, I wasn't ready for it. Yeah. I was arguing with the reception. Oh no, I want to see the dentist now. Like, no, you'll see him in 3 weeks. I went, fuck off. I'll have no teeth left in 3 weeks. Whereas in the army, the military, the dentist's there. Everyone's there for you. So leaving that cocoon support system was difficult.
Yeah, it's got
now I'm on my own, going through a divorce. I'm living in a flat. I'm getting letters under my door, and then bailiffs turn up at my house because I haven't paid bills, which I forgot I should have paid. The military does it. It's always difficult. It
was imagine they didn't take anything though.
Huh?
Imagine they didn't get very far in.
Took a fight on the landing.
Yeah. Being a bodyguard to celebrities, though, must have been like quite an exciting experience with any sort of major highlights of the job.
There was loads, mate. You know, there was the thing is, it didn't bother to me that there were celebrities. There was people who they needed things doing for them. I could do it. You know, I ask them what they want. They tell me. I tell them what I can do. We had a working relationship. It doesn't bother me who they were. It was interesting because you meet all these people that you've seen in films and all this sort of stuff and all that, and you know, and all of a sudden you're there with them and you're really controlling their life because your job really is, you know, not rolling around the floor with people who are trying to attack them and stuff. You know, there's always a threat, which there was, and I had to deal with it. I'm not going to go into what there was, but I will say there was kidnapping, people trying to want to probably kill your client because of that 15 minutes of fame craziness. You had to deal with that. But most of the time, it was, you know, just allowing them to have a normal life. And I enjoyed it because it was all the deception stuff, all the stuff you used to do in the military, and it was just putting that into practice with these people who were like, oh, that's a great idea. So it was kind of fun, but doing the job for them, getting the job done, if you know what I mean. So it was exciting doing all that. And then, you know, you find yourself in a situation where there's me as a bodyguard. I've got 2 A-list clients, which is Brand and Angie at the time, and I've got about 3,000 people who are all fucking hyped up, want to touch them more, and I've got to try and control that. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going to do this now.
But even with your skills, you can't stop 3,000 people.
Well, I did.
All right. Yeah, there's no messing around there.
No, I mean, there's ways. But it's again, using that knowledge experience. Don't put yourself into that position.
Yeah.
Find an alternative. Instead of letting them go over there and reach out into the crowd, which somebody's going to grab you and do something, I can't control that. Keep that distance. I watch the crowd, look for the people who don't look too happy. Just steer away from that. That's a problem. Everybody is happy to see you, except for that. Let's move. It was just that sort of stuff, aiming off and just, dealing with all that.
Were they ever annoyed that you were controlling their day or their life? Where you're like, you can't come here, you've got to go.
Not really. I had a situation where we were going to go in Toronto. We were going to the red carpet. We had to be there with it was Brad and Angie. But I mean,
like they referred to as Angie.
Yeah.
Oh, God, Angie.
Brad. It was Brad who was the primary, so it was his film. I can't even remember what it was. We had to. Anyway, the crowd was out of control. Blah blah blah. I didn't really trust the driver, and we're going there, and I knew I'm going to lose control of this. I just said, right, stop the fucking vehicle, reverse out quickly. We ended up doing a bit of an evasive driving thing, get people out of the way, nearly running people. We didn't run anybody over. Get out of it, and I went, "You're not going." They're looking, we're going, "Where the fucking mate?" I goes, "You ain't going. I can't control that." Okay. Wow. And then we come up with an alternative. How about we move the people that are going to go to this, and that's what we did. So they were always very respectful, and we never had that, I'm doing this. Because the bottom line was, if it's security related, I call the shots. It's as simple as that. You tell me why on this. If security, this is what's going to be. Otherwise, I fucking walk away. I'm not here to put my life in danger for somebody who's not going to listen. And they never did not do that. It worked really, really well all the time. And that was every client I've ever had.
And then you stepped into TV.
Yes.
And that was SAS Who Dares Wins then?
No, I did a program way before that called Unbreakable. It was actually while I was with Brad and Angie, not long after I'd been out. And it was about putting the 8 fittest people in the UK through a process, which happened to be take them to the jungle and thrash them for 4 days or teach them for 4 days, whatever, to try and make them quit. And it was called Unbreakable because these are such fit, hard people that never quit. Well, that lasted 40 fucking minutes, didn't it? They're all about to quit. And no disrespect to them, it wasn't, the production went, "Oh, let's take them to the jungle." I went, "Hang on a minute. SAS guys die in the jungle. It's fucking, you've got to be a client." "Oh, no, you don't understand." I went, no, you don't understand. And I was right. So we got there, they're dehydrated and fucking all sorts of problems. So we had to stop it. Instead of 4 days of thrashing, it was like every day I'd be out there teaching them stuff about the jungle, then 30 minutes of arduous screaming and shouting to make the program. And it was like, it kind of put me off. And I think it did all right actually when it went out. And then it put me off for a long time. And then SAS came along and I looked at it, and initially I said no for the first one. Got asked to do another one at the same time with Freddie Flintoff, Special Forces. That was running at the same time. I thought that would be better because just the title SAS didn't sit comfortable with me at the time. Yeah. And again, long story short, the day we were supposed to start filming with Freddie, I ended up in hospital with cerebral malaria. I was in a fucking bad way. So luckily, I spent time in hospital rather than doing that because he didn't do too well. And SAS 1 went out. Then I got hounded by a producer through a friend to go on the show. And he came to Hereford because I wouldn't come to London, talked about it, and then that's where it went from there.
Oh, he wouldn't go to London. They're not doing that.
I said, "I'm not going. If you want to talk about it, come to my house," and he did.
And then you've also moved on to your live TV show, live shows as well now.
Yeah.
How is this experience moving from military or perhaps just not being in the limelight to the person everyone's focusing on?
It comes with, you've got to. I've put my head above the parapet. People know I was in the SAS. There's a security element to everything I do and effects on everything I say or do now. 1 minute you're the king of the castle, next thing you're cancelled. I accept all that. That's what it is. And it took some adjusting to getting used to being on the TVs. I'll go back a little bit on this because I think it's interesting. So I left the SAS. I became a bodyguard. And then I quickly learned in the bodyguard world, all these other bodyguards I was working with apparently were in the SAS and I wasn't. I was going, what the fuck is going on here? So it came a stage which was really uncomfortable. After leaving the military, being used to cocooned in that world, finding my own feet, the doctors did it. Now, I've actually got to tell people I was in the SAS. And it was the weirdest, hardest thing to do. And I had to, because all these other people apparently were in the SAS and none of them could even spell it. And I'm like, so they're living this lie. And something happened and I went, look, I was in the fucking SAS. And oh, really? Yeah, I was. And you weren't.
You mean the
weren't.
actual SAS?
Yeah.
Not the made up one?
None of you were. So that came out. So then, all right, now everybody knows I'm in the SAS. All right, I have to accept that. That's what it is. Then the TV stuff. And so again, I've had to manage it and deal with it. But now I love it. I love the platform I've got because I can do things like this and it reaches people and I hope it helps people medically or, mindset or whatever it is. And charitable reasons, I can fucking raise loads of money for the right reasons, for veterans, for people with cancer and children, which we do. So I've really embraced it. Yeah, I was in the SAS. Yeah, I'm on TV. I hate that word celebrity. People know me. That's who I am. And I love it. I really enjoy it. And you know what? I've never really had anybody come to me negatively. I'm sure behind my back people say something, but you behind my back, if you ain't saying to my face, I'm not fucking interested anyway. One bloke did once, and he fell over in the chip shop and banged his head. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've never had a problem.
I think
people
you're
really
great.
are nice, and it makes people smile. So I love it.
Do you do your live shows? Do you have security?
Not really.
I would have thought that'd be hilarious.
No.
It'd be like having the lifesaver by the Olympian swimmers going, oh, that was a waste of a job. What's the favourite or your best bits about SAS Dares wins?
Realising what it actually does. It's took a long while to get to what it, is this a boot camp? Is this just some military type thing? It's not. What it is, when people ask, well, what's the relation between the real SAS and SAS? Well, there is actually. It's about the character. As I said to you, the regiment's about the character, and that's what you get from the jungle. The show's the same. We don't care if you're a celebrity. We don't care what you are. What's your real character? And we get to find what that is, because we peel them back. I don't like saying breakdown. We peel them back through deprivation, through making them realise no one gives a fuck about how many people follow you, how much money you are. Who really are you? And you see that person transit back to what they really are. So to be able to do that for somebody, and they become a better version of themselves. Fact, I don't think there's anybody been on that show, whether they've been there, lasted a day, a week, or got to the end, they have not become a better person and learnt a lot from it. And it's true. There's that side to it. And now it's all celebrities, which most of them have got 3 million people who follow them, who are our younger generation, our future. Watch these people being peeled back and showing their vulnerabilities and showing the real version of themselves. They become a better person. And the reason I love it is because me, Fox, and Fox will tell you, and the rest of the DS, the night that show goes out, we get inundated on social media, because we have to be on it as well. Young people going, wow, if my hero can speak out and be in a bad place, I can do the same. You've helped me out. And it's true. Now, I'll tell you honestly, we've had people saying, I was about to fucking kill myself. I was arming myself. Now you've given me hope and shown me a new direction and be able to, what we talk about, be able to talk about it, be able to reach out to somebody. And that's what I love about it. The show really does so much indirectly that it's took us a long while to realise it. It's brilliant. And then we do the live shows like Foxy does as well. There's a queue of people. Every time we will come to say, thank you, you saved my life. I listened to your podcast and I've done, and you just think there's no better, that's the best salary you'll ever get. Somebody coming up to you and going, you know what, I've helped somebody in a worse place than we are, we've helped. And he's fucking brilliant for it. And the show is fantastic for that. And
that's nice.
We get to make politicians cry.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to remember that. How have you maintained your passion and energy for just being busy? I think a lot of people will know you because of SAS, but I think the thing that I would want most people to take away is the fact that age for you isn't a factor.
No, it's not. It's because, here we go, time. I don't know how much more time we've got on this. It's the one thing we'll never get back. We don't know how much we've got. I could walk out here now, get run over, be killed. I could have a heart attack. You don't fucking know. So I honestly just say to myself, everything's a passage in time. We don't know. Just go out and do it. Just keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it.
Actually.
Well, there you go, 12% chance.
But I know what you mean. Like, joking aside, it's the fact that you're not wasting that one opportunity you've got.
It really is. You really do at this stage realise how short life is. I did frigging all that time I can remember it like it was yesterday. And it was really yesterday. Now I'm here and I'm like, bloody hell, what have I got next? So I'll keep setting myself a goal, keep going. Will I reach it? I don't know, but I'll go for it. I'll keep trying. And that's what it is. It's a mindset of just keep going. Time is all you have. Make the most of it. Don't make excuses. Get on with it.
What's the one piece of advice for men that you would say they could implement today to improve their lives? Ownership of who you really are. We're all three different people. You are, I am, he is. What I mean by that is, like, here now, obviously we're talking about life and it's coming across in a certain way, in a certain manner, which is the one thing that underlined in my life is integrity. If I'm talking about it, I've done it. I don't bullshit it. So have integrity, be who you really are and be accountable. Be the same person you are in your own house as you are outside. In other words, be a nice fucking person. Don't be an arsehole. Just be a good fucking person. And it's as simple as that. Should we use that as the final strap line of your thing? Is Billy's advice, don't be an arsehole?
Yeah, basically.
That's easy.
It's true, innit? We can all be... Why be an arsehole? You know, don't get me wrong. When people piss you off, deal with it. But don't go out and create fucking problems when you don't need to be doing that.
I like the idea of self-responsibility. Everyone comes on and
be
says,
accountable.
Just I'll go for a run or eat better. But actually it's just about what can I do? I'm the one that's responsible. No one is going to tell me what to do. Yeah. It's really good.
Accountability.
Right, Billy, thank you so much for coming on.
Good pleasure, Jeff. It's gone quick, isn't it?
Yeah, very quick. It's time. So where should people go to follow you or find out what you're up to next? On
Instagram, my name on there, Billingham22B, I think it is. Yeah, just on Instagram. Just, I love the fact that if I get up and run, a lot of people go, oh, you've kicked me up the arse and done it. I've kicked myself up the arse to do it, but it is good to hear that people are getting out and doing stuff and taking care of themselves. And yeah, so on Instagram is probably the best place.
Wait, tell us about your book.
Yeah, so I finally writ down it's kind of a self-motivation, self-help type book, but it's based on reality. You know, you can't buy a pair of trainers and go and run 10 miles like people tell you. Buy a pair of trainers, break them in, walk slowly, small steps, big achievements. Because once you get a small step, a small achievement, it gives you then the drive and the motivation to try again and go forward. And that's what the book's about. And it's everything from growing up mindset to physical things to everything that you do right and wrong through life. So, and it's 10 lessons that I've chosen.
What's it called?
It's called Further.
Brilliant. Out now.
Out now.
All good publishers.
All good publishers. Go get it.
If you enjoyed this episode of Man Alive, you would love this one. Go on. Press it. Click now. Press it now.